What's up, everybody? My name is Godzi, and welcome back to another episode of Umineko When They Cry, Answers Arc. Last episode, we began the Chapter 7 Tea Party, as the adults have made a decent amount of progress towards solving the epitaph, and it seems right now they've actually solved it, since it seems like Hideyoshi has a ladder and they're in front of the chapel. Quadrillion, perhaps. As well, it showed George and Shannon's George's proposal to Shannon again, and I got comments about people, like one specific line. Shannon said how she only exists to love you now, you being George, obviously. People were saying like how much of a big yikes that line is, which, yeah, I can see how. I'm still not fully on board with disliking George, though. I feel like I was told, like, the whole thing with him being, like, kind of a freak is delved into later on. I don't know if that means in this tea party or in Chapter 8, but, hey, we're kind of cutting it close to the end of Umineko in general, so it's gotta be explained relatively soon. But either way, let's continue with the tea party. Thankfully, they were nice enough to have, like, a good stopping point, because again, this tea party's supposed to be long, and I'm not sure from that last part how exactly this is supposed to evolve into being a really good tea party, but hey, obviously, we will see. So, let's get back into it. I've got the ladder. Here we go. Quadrillion. This is the only place you'll find that number written on this island. 1/10 of 1 quadrillion. How suspicious. If our idea is right, there should be some sort of device embedded in that relief. We just need to check. Who's going up? I'll go. Hold that ladder down, okay? Be careful. It is fairly high up. Rudolph climbed up the propped-up ladder, step by step as the rain poured down on him. Look at the queue. See anything? Some sort of device. Ladder's a bit shaky. Oh boy. What is it? Did something happen? Bingo. Take a look at this. Rudolph tossed the cue down. It hit Kraus on the shoulder and landed in a puddle. Ow! God damn it! This is the key. What does it mean? Rudolph, don't tell me you can take out the other letters too. Yeah, looks like it. Guess our crazy theories weren't far off after all. What's the next letter to take out? I. And then L. Oh, he took out the wrong L. Following her instructions, Rudolph removed the 6 letters of the first Twilight. Now that they'd gotten this far, nothing stood in the way of them solving the riddle. By trial and error, they finally reached the final stage. Yep, Lord U. It says to gouge, starting from the head, which must mean going from left to right. Rudolph, starting from the left, turn the keys before taking them out. Got it. Now we've massacred all the letters. We reached the 9th Twilight and none are left alive. So, did something happen? Felt like something clicked, but nothing changed. Did a hidden door open up somewhere? Hey, look at that! It moved, I'm sure it did. Everyone, look! The lion statue's facing the other way! What is going on? Is there some secret inside the lion statue? That's not it. It's probably telling us to look where the lion's pointing. See? Look that way. That lion's facing a different way too. What does it mean? It's guiding us, stupid! We have to go in the direction of the lion's face. Eva dashed forward. She's so fucking, like, insane with this. The others all chased after her. The gold was right in front of them. Lightning? Yep, the stairs. Now this is a surprise. Who would have thought that a hidden stairway like this existed? It makes sense now. Father didn't like people going near the chapel. I wonder how long that device has been there. Judging by the feel of this underground passage, probably for quite a long time. I imagine it was built at nearly the same time as the mansion itself. The riddle of the epitaph was probably also planned many decades ago. Well, this is Dad we're talking about. I try not to let the things he does surprise me, but this. Just how far does this stairway go? Hey, maybe that old rumor was true. You know, the story about him having a mistress in a hidden mansion somewhere in the forest. I see. It's likely that this underground passage goes all the way there. I wonder if it connects to the mansion from that day. I think we found the goal. Look at that filthy door. Something's written on it. Woo. Bingo. Something was written on the door in red paint. On the 10th twilight at Journey's End, you shall attain to the power of the Golden Land's treasures once and for the last time. Does it open? It does. Ready? I'm going to open it. So, we finally reached the gold. We can only hope that such a sweet deal's really true. Let's open it, sister. Right, I'm opening it. The heavy door opened slowly. Then the gold-filled underground VIP room showed itself. Okay. They only had an instant to admire its splendid furnishings. As soon as the mountain of gold next to the canopy bed came into sight, they all froze, stunned. After a second, the stunned silence faded and was replaced by cries of astonishment and wild joy. Incredible! I can't believe it! It's 20 billion yen in gold! It really does exist! What a shining mountain! It almost blinds the eyes. We did it! We did it! We win this game! You mustn't touch it without permission. This is Father's gold. Oh, really? Then why don't you call Father down here now? Right away! The time for your farce is over and done with. Nazi, let's put an end to the obvious lies, shall we? We have a real mountain of gold right here. Shouldn't we all be honest with each other? Fortunately, we're all in a good mood and feeling very gracious now. Just give it up already. A pile of gold this massive carries magical power within it. That power draws out the most honest feelings within people. It's like the fucking truth serum or something. The light from the chandelier glinted off the golden mountain, lighting them up with its golden sparkle. It was as though the sparkle controlled everyone present. For some time, they forgot their age, and howled and laughed, running about and rolling around like a bunch of excited kindergartners at a park. What is all this? What's it supposed to mean? Before the crimes, the epitaph has been solved by all of the siblings together. That hasn't happened in any of the games before now. Supposedly, Beatrice decided not to commit the crime if the epitaph was solved. Then explain the 5th game, unless it's because Erica did it. Yeah, supposedly. We'll see about that. Angie snorted, but I believed. This is what Claire decided. Because she entrusted everything to the roulette of fate, she'll obey the result. She let the roulette decide her own fate specifically because they couldn't decide on their own. So, she'll do what it says. She'll follow her own rule. She'll definitely keep her promise. I don't think the crime will occur. Are you sure about that? Yes. Her roulette has already made its decision. This is the end of her game. If it's the end, what happens next? Do they all become happy rich people and leave the family conference unharmed? Does my family get an ingot that isn't chocolate as a parting gift before coming back to me? Will it be a happy end for everyone? You think those witches would chain us to chairs to show us a naive dream like that? Well, potentially. When she showed off the chain on her wrist with a clank, I was unable to counter her with confidence. But I want to believe. Though this might be the least exciting ending, Claire's game has now reached an end. Perhaps just once at the end, she wanted to show us a world where no crime occurs. Now that she has disappeared with no regrets, is she leaving us a parting gift in the form of a game where no crime takes place, in a sense the most peaceful sort of game? I want to believe. If only these heavy, cold chains weren't holding us in place in this theater. Is someone there? Rosa's shrill cry brought the celebrating to an immediate stop. Rosa knew she'd seen it. The curtain against the wall had fluttered, and a shadow had been there behind it. Come on, don't do that. You're just imagining things. Is someone there? If you are, come out! When Eva yelled, the curtain shook. I figured. Hello, Beatrice. And then, a witch wearing a black dress appeared from the other side. In an instant, everyone realized that the dress was the same as the one worn by the witch of the portrait. And they realized one more thing. This person was the owner of this room. Welcome to the Room of the Gold. Her face and her voice were expressionless, blank. The others all looked at each other, wondering who should respond. Rudolph was the first to speak. So, you are Beatrice. Indeed. And you're the one who gave Maria that letter? Indeed. Is father behind this? No. This is my game. If that's so, then we've won! We've solved the epitaph's riddle and found the gold. We've accepted your challenge and won. That means this gold belongs to us, right? Indeed, it is as you say. You have solved the epitaph splendidly and discovered the hidden gold. This game ends in your victory. This gold no longer belongs to me, but to all of you. It seems you're a graceful loser. Hey, you. If we hadn't solved the epitaph's riddle, what were you planning to do? The letter said that you'd take everything of the Ushiromiya family. Yes, I plan to take all of your wealth, and all of your lives. I plan to do as I please with everything that exists on this island. The witch walked towards the table next to the bed. Then, for the first time, the others realized what sat on that table. They were 4 rifles. There was also a case filled with bullets. Huh. The witch picked up one of the lead bullets lying on the table and played with it, her face still expressionless as she spoke. If this night ended before you managed to solve the epitaph's riddle, I plan to follow the epitaph and commit 13 murders. What did you say? That's what I thought when I first saw the epitaph. It almost looks like something you'd find in a serial murder mystery novel. That's right. If you had killed 13 people to match the epitaph, that would have made for quite a mysterious crime. There's no way you could do that all by yourself. No matter how many guns you had, killing 13 people, that would just be... I formed my plan with great care and constructed several alternatives. I envisioned all of the actions you might take from tonight and through tomorrow, and prepared a mystery to deal with each of those. I'm afraid I cannot reveal those at this point, but it really was a tightly knit set of pleasant closed-room murders. If there were just a few of us, you probably could have gunned us down in our sleep. But there's no way you could have killed 13 of us. We aren't that stupid. It would seem so. At any rate, I predicted that the epitaph being solved before the first twilight was the most unlikely result. It would seem that us reaching this place was a miscalculation on your part. No. Even this was one of the results of the roulette I wished to create. This is probably the best outcome for all of you. No one will die and you can leave this island with the gold. Congratulations. This game ends with a perfect victory for you all. If no one could solve the riddle, she planned to take a gun and commit a serial murder. Everyone gulped as they watched the witch emotionlessly make her confession. If this confession of yours is the truth, that means you were trying to kill us. Yes, that is true. The hell? How can you just say it like that? You couldn't possibly expect us to treat you favorably after revealing that much to us, right? I am prepared. You may do as you will with me. If you hadn't solved the epitaph, I would have done the same to you, so it is only fair. This girl's got guts. I planned this game because I was prepared to bet my life. I am satisfied with the result. If you wish to kill me now, I am prepared. By now, she didn't even treasure her life. As the witch spoke and walked near the others, they automatically stepped back. The gold belongs to all of you. I planned to give everything to the one who discovered it first, but I didn't expect there to be 7 of you. I leave the decision of how to split the gold to you. I will not involve myself. And? The witch walked even closer. The group parted and she walked up to the antique clock behind them. The clock was large and had a dignified feel to it. The witch patted it and spoke. Allow me to explain the device within this clock. For you have gained not just the gold, but the entirety of this island. What do you mean by that? Is that clock connected to the bomb? If you read it like a murder case up until the 8th twilight, then only 13 people are killed. But by the 9th twilight, Kyrie says that none are to be left alive. What does that mean? That she was planning to massacre all of us? Don't tell me. That clock. As you have guessed, it is linked to a set of explosives. Yep. Are you the one who set that up? Or was that Ushiromiya Kinzo? Kinzo is the one who set up the device. It's the source of his mad magical power. I don't have a clue what you're talking about. In other words, Dad set up this bomb, and if he ever went broke, he was ready to wipe out everything, including himself, and die? Oh. Then maybe the shrine isn't where they tested out the bomb. Then what is the shrine? What? Kinzo set it up, but maybe Beatrice didn't really trust it, so she took one of the bombs and decided to test it on that island? On this island, Ushiromiya Kinzo made a contract with the Golden Witch and obtained the gold. However, that was not all he gained. What are you talking about? Wait, don't tell me. There is that rumor about the remains of an old Japanese military base existing on Rokanjima. Could it be? Your guess is correct. Beneath this island sleep the remains of an underground Japanese military base from the time of the war, along with 900 tons of explosives. Okay, so there were bombs from the military base. 900 tons? That's unbelievable! If that exploded, the result would be unimaginable. Forget just the mansion blowing up, it'd leave a massive crater! I believe an expert's estimate put it at a hole several dozen meters deep and a kilometer across. There wouldn't be even a trace left. Those explosives can be ignited by a special device, one connected to the activation switch I just flipped. The witch toyed with a switch on the top part of the antique clock. If 2400 arrives when the switch is in this position, the bombs will explode. It's almost 2400 now. In other words, it won't explode X hours after you flip it. It's a time limit bomb that only explodes at midnight. Indeed. It is almost 2400 now. If such an explosion is what you desire, you need only leave it like this. Who would want that? Turn it off! By this time, Kinzo was probably the only one who knew, even though he's dead. The secret base on Rokanjima started out as a submarine base. However, when that plan reached a standstill, it was redefined as a top-secret base for homeland defense. A huge plan had been drawn up to have the Army and Navy perform a pincer attack on American forces if the latter decided to land on Kujukuri Beach and press towards Tokyo. As a trump card for this massive defensive maneuver, the Navy started stockpiling large quantities of explosives and fuel in absolute secrecy. And the Rokenjima base was the location of that top-secret stockpile. The buried explosives weighed 900 tons in total. Also, fearing that the Americans might find out the island's secrets and seize the explosives, they set up a system for the self-destruction of the entire island. Kinzo, who knew all of this, decided not to remove this device, but to tie it in with this strange clock that could trigger such an explosion any night at midnight. Kinzo was famous for building up his funds using a vast store of gold, then using those funds in several sink-or-swim gambles, one after another. Just what did his stockpile of gold and the 900 tons of sweeping explosives mean to him? At this point, we can only guess. Perhaps the true source of Kinzo's mad power wasn't the gold after all. If he lost a big gamble, and all that he owned, he could erase this entire island from existence with this device. For the rest of his life, he must have put the gold and everything else he had on the line. So then how did Eva survive the third game? Jessica died to the bomb, so what about Eva? Kinzo probably stared at this clock at times, sometimes flipping the activation switch and letting it tick down. Maybe whenever he came up against a troubling problem, he would hide in here and flip the switch, with the intention of blowing everything away if he didn't think of a brilliant plan before 2400 came. He could gaze at this mountain of gold, listening to the clock tick towards his death as he searched for an idea. Perhaps Ushiromiya Kinzo's real study wasn't the one in the mansion, but this place instead. That sort of switch sounds just like Dad. So maybe each time Dad worried about something, all of us kids were put on the line as well. This is Father, so it wouldn't be unthinkable. This device now belongs to all of you. If you desire a massive explosion, use it whenever you please. Are you crazy? Who'd want a big explosion? These explosives are half a century old, right? Would they really go off? Yes, of course. The explosives and the fuses are still working. I tested them myself. Okay, then you did test it on the shrine. You tested them? You mean that? I see. Now I finally understand. So that's why the shrine disappeared without a trace. Right, okay, so I was right about that. That summer, the shrine had disappeared completely, along with the reef under it. Though people found it odd that the waves could have wiped it out so completely, no one paid it much mind. And now this piece fits perfectly into the hole that caused that strange feeling. Indeed. I used that shrine to test whether the explosives were still working after half a century. I believe you are all aware of the result. Yep, shrine go boom. The little bit I used was enough to make that entire reef vanish. It's easy to see how 900 tons of that would cause an explosion large enough to rewrite the map. If an explosion like that were to occur, it would certainly kill all of us. But what about you? I doubt you were planning to commit a group suicide with us. This underground VIP room is connected by a subterranean passage to the remnants of the military base. If you go straight along that, you'll come out at a hidden mansion on the opposite side of the island, Kudorian. It's about 2 kilometers away. Oh, okay, so the explosion's not big enough to reach Kudorian. If you make it all the way there, you should be able to escape the blast. I see. So you plan to escape to there just before the blast? I've only said that such a thing is possible. You may not believe this, but if the 9th Twilight ended before any of you could solve the riddle, I plan to die along with everything else. I see. Because I was thinking, yeah, fucking she is dead for sure. In the, second game, she died to the bomb in the first game because she was in the entrance hall with the cousins. 4th game, Battler died to the bomb, so did Beatrice. However, since Eva survived and solved the epitaph in the 3rd game, she survived. Because Shannon and Cannon were both in the closed room ring. But then Shannon is in the parlor with George. But maybe Battler didn't look, like, it could just be something like Battler didn't see her body, so he's just like, well, I don't know if she's dead. But that means George was dead for sure, and that also means, well, Nanjo did die, so there. So yeah, Eva survived the third game, but so did Beatrice then. So, does that mean Beatrice becomes Hachijo? Is Hachijo in here? Featherin isn't in here at all, and neither is Hachijo. But I remember a comment I got sometime during Chapter 6, probably, telling me to think more about the bottles, the letter bottles, and all the different games. Those must have been Beatrice's other plans. I don't know who Hachijo is then, if Hachijo could be Beatrice, because that would be like 14 years after the events of the third game, which the third game must be the truth then, of Angie's world. Because, like, these two have clearly different eye color. Like, look at Leon. Leon's eyes should be the same color as Beatrice's. However, this must be Leon's natural eye color, brown. I don't remember what Hachijo's eye color was, but I could probably check the tips menu if I save. Well, actually, SSVD. I'm pretty sure I read this, right? Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, if I do this quick, I'm actually gonna check real fast. So I'm gonna do that. Exit. Right-click again. System. Title back. So I can go here. Episode 6 tips, because she should be in here. Right? I don't see her. She must be on the third page then. Yes. Her eyes are more purplish. Okay, then I have no fucking idea. Well, that was probably a waste of time, but whatever. Let's go back in there and continue reading. Not quite sure who the heck Hachijo is then. There's something seriously wrong with this girl. She's insane. There's no point overthinking it. If we hadn't solved the epitaph, she would have used those guns, or else that switch, to massacre all of us, right? There's no doubting that now. You are correct. You have ended this game in the best possible way, without there being even a single victim. I wish to convey my respect and admiration. There may have been 7 of you, but you did solve that riddle, which took me so long to solve, in a single night. That is worthy of praise. And I admire you for your graciousness and honesty in defeat. We'll decide how to deal with you in the future, but I intend to do all I can to reach a gentlemanly agreement. Pay me no mind any longer. I am already one of the dead, who is already prepared to kill everyone and die myself. The Golden Witch Beatrice solved the epitaph, reached this room, and revived. And now, new people had solved the riddle and reached this room, so her role was finished. When the epitaph's riddle was solved, Beatrice's illusion of the witch ended. Most likely, no one in this room was capable of understanding her grim determination. She herself was probably the only one who understood. As long as the many selves inside of her understood, that was enough. I am one yet many. I abandoned myself to the magical roulette of endless possibilities. The result, the answer, is this. This is what the tarot cards known as the Epitaph Ceremony have shown me. Beatrice is already dead. They did not kill her. I killed her myself, in accordance with fate's command. They will never understand, for all eternity. The witch stared up at the ceiling without speaking for a while, then looked as though she'd suddenly remembered something. She grabbed at the sleeves of her dress and took out some sort of card. Oh yes, I forgot. I have no need for money after death. I will give this to all of you as well. A cash card? I have converted a portion of the gold to cash. This is for the account that the money is in. I see. So this is the source of the Golden Witch's magical energy. How much? I've forgotten the details. However, there is more than 1 billion yen. 1 billion? Now that really would be magic. True. There's nothing you couldn't do with that much money. Very true. The strongest magic to counter the human's anti-magic toxin is this magic of gold. It may be that this card holds greater power than the ingots. Certainly. Cash would be much more agreeable than ingots. Here you go. I have no need of this anymore. The card she held out was not taken by any of them. Who would ever just hand over a card with 1 billion yen in it? The mountain of gold, the device for blowing up the island, the card with 1 billion yen. All of these surpassed their understanding. So, no one could bring themselves to take it. I don't like it. What don't you like? Here you go. Here's a mountain of gold. And I'll turn off the explosives and give you a card worth 1 billion yen while we're at it. Sounds far too good to be true. You're trying to trick us somehow, aren't you? I have no desire to trick you, but I won't try and force you to believe. I've offered you everything, revealed everything. What you believe and what you do is now for you, the new masters of the gold, to decide. You are even free to disbelieve all I say and leave this place. Eva, I can't imagine that she's lying. And how could you know that? I don't like how relaxed she's acting. It's as though she thinks she's already won. I just had an idea a second ago. What if she's lying about which is the off side of the switch? What do you mean, Eva? Just a second ago, this woman flipped the switch to the side she said would turn off the bomb. What if that actually armed the bomb? We solved the riddle, so you turned the bomb switch to on, trying to blow us and everything else up, right? If that is what you think, then feel free to flip the switch on this clock. It will be 2400 in 1 minute. The clock will show you the truth. What did you say? Hey, what are we supposed to do? Is the bomb set to on now, or off? I can't imagine that she's lying. It's inactive now. We shouldn't flip it. But I don't like it. Why is she so resigned to her fate? Why is she offering us things one after another? She's tricking us to buy time. She wants to buy time until 2400 so she can go down in flames along with us. What about the switch itself? Is there some way to tell if it's on or off? On the upper part of the antique clock was a metal switch that could slide right or left. Right now it was set to the left. However, there were no marks in particular on either side to tell which was off and which was on. Hey, tell us the truth. Which way is off? Left. It's off now. You idiot. You really expect an honest answer from her? It's the opposite. It has to be. The right side must be off. They're all gonna die. We don't have any more time, Rosa. Quit it, Eva. Don't touch the switch. It's set to off now. Eva, take your hand off it. That was probably Natsuhi then. I agree. It's off now. She wanted to kill us with a bomb. She wouldn't have told us about it. Beatrice? Don't think you can trick me. 5, 4, 3. Ah! Don't flip it. Oh boy. Okay, it's on the left. The second hand of the clock ticked past 2400. October 4th ended and the curtain rose on October 5th, 1986. The switch was still pointing to the left. The witch's words had been proven correct. Have I gained your trust now? You bitch! With a hideous, sweat-covered expression, Eva snatched the cash card away from the witch's hand. How about a bank book and seal? We can't withdraw anything with just a card. All you need is the pin. It's 8 digits long. Wait a second! I'm writing it down. Eva and Kyrie both took out a pen and notepad and began writing the 8-digit number the witch told them. That is everything I have to tell you and to give you. I will say nothing more. All of my tasks have been completed. After saying this, the witch spun around and sat down on the bed. She wasn't even looking at the others anymore. She sat there like an empty husk, which had, just as she had said, finished everything it existed to do. For a while, everyone watched the witch to see if she would remember something else and start talking. However, she said nothing else. The witch who had called herself one of the dead was now little more than a large French doll wearing a black dress. We're only 35 minutes in, I'm going. I'm still going. Okay. The gold. Gold is the only physical embodiment of magic that can exist in the human world. Since ancient times, even a small bit of it could control men with its magic. In that case, how much magic power would dwell in it? If it was piled up in a mountain so high, you'd have to look up to see the top. Don't be stupid, we'll split it evenly. Isn't that the obvious solution? Didn't we say that half of this pile would belong to me, and the other half would be split between the four of us? The yells of the humans dancing around the gold reverberated throughout the underground room. In front of the pile of gold, they were arguing about how it should be split. Did you solve the riddle all by yourself, Kraus? You didn't, right? The four of us siblings solved it together. Of course we'll split it in 4 equal parts. Coward, weren't you the one who first made that proposal about the gold's distribution? How can you disregard that so easily? You really think you're in a position to bargain, when you're the one hiding Dad's death? Yeah. You've been swindling us this whole time, treating Father's wealth as if it were your own. All you need to do is split the gold evenly, and we'll drop all the rest, including that particular issue. This sounds very fair to me. Well, if you insist, go ahead and try splitting it 4 ways. Let's divide this pile up right now, and you can all take your own shares home. I hope you have pockets that can hold 2.5 tons of ingots. Seems you've all been driven mad by the gold and lost all ability to make rational judgments. What do you mean by that, Kraus? Look at this ingot. As you can see, there are no official markings, just Father's crest. How do you intend to turn unmarked gold like this into cash? Well, have you finally figured it out? This pile of gold may be worth 20 billion yen. However, that's only if you can trade it for cash. Are any of you capable of exchanging this many unmarked, unidentified ingots for cash at the proper rates? If it was a necklace or a ring, exchanging it for cash would have been a manageable problem. However, doing that for several tons of unmarked gold that couldn't be made public would be impossible for any normal person. However, Kraus could do it. Among the several business friends that remained from Kinzo's generation, there were some who had black market ties and a lot of financial power. The billion yen tied to the cash card that the Golden Witch had held out a second ago had already been turned to cash thanks to one of Kinzo's connections. However, none of the other siblings had any connections like that. They would have to rely on Kraus to get cash for the gold. Now you're finally seeing it. I apologize for hiding all of those things about Father. However, you're in no position to take advantage of that weakness. Oh boy. You really think you have such an advantage just because of something like that? What do you intend to do with that gun? Please, you're scaring us. Eva was gripping the gun so hard it looked like it might snap. The 4 guns that the witch had placed in this room were now in the hands of their relatives. Just as the gold had led their hearts astray, it seemed these guns had the magical power to turn their hearts to violence. Finally, a scuffle arose between Eva and Kraus. Off to the side, Nazis started arguing with Rudolph and his wife, and the grand underground VIP room was filled with thundering jeers. This ain't good. This ain't good at all. After being forced to watch the scene for so long, Angie's face was starting to contort with pain. It was only natural after being shown this abusive argument between her parents and her other relatives. What on earth? It was painful for Leon, too. Leon would have tried to intervene and calm them if that had been possible. The gold isn't going anywhere, right? If you just slow down and think, you'll be able to resolve this. Going by what Eva and the others said, it's clear that they'll need a lot of money before the end of the year. However, the billion-yen cash card should be more than enough to pay for that. That would handle their emergency expenses, so they could then convert the gold to cash at their leisure and just split it amongst themselves. Sure, maybe Kraus was the only one capable of converting the gold. That might give him an advantage over the other siblings. However, this gold couldn't be dealt with by open means. In addition to attracting public attention, it would also lead to various legal problems. It was better for the secret money to remain secret. If they wanted to get the largest portions possible, then they should all agree not to tell anyone about this gold. In other words, to maximize their profits, they would all need to make a gentleman's agreement to keep this secret. Kraus did have a slight advantage. However, it was possible for the other relatives to refuse to cooperate and tell the world about the gold. And then, there was also the concealment of Kinzo's death to consider. Kraus was an investor. He needed not only financial clout, but also a certain degree of public confidence in him. His advantage isn't big enough for him to act so overbearing. The mountain of gold has made everyone lose their ability to think rationally. This isn't an argument between adults. It's just a fight between kids. What's so fun about showing us this? Or is this the game of some new witch? Are they watching us suffer from somewhere and laughing? By now, even I didn't have a clue who was showing this to us, or for what reason. At the very least, this new tale didn't seem to be overflowing with affection. At first, I thought it was a tale of a beautiful world, where no crime occurred and Claire's regrets had vanished. But something's different. This tale is clearly filled with ill will towards us. I'm sure of that much now, but I don't have a clue who would want to show us this. Oh fuck. Suddenly, an explosion rang out. I didn't think it was the sound of gunfire. After all, people living a normal life never hear that kind of sound. Motorcycle gunman, who died? Drip, 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 drip. It was the sound of thick raindrops hitting the floor. There was no rain in this underground room. It was blood dripping down from Natsuhi's right eye. What? Natsuhi? Fucking... Wait, how her? The bullet had gone in through her right eye towards the back of her head. Natsuhi? It's your fault for jumping at me. The gun, which fell from Eva's grasp, landed on the floor with a hard metallic clang. Oh, Eva accidentally shot her. As though in response to that sound, Natsuhi's head slowly turned to face the ceiling. Oh boy. Natsuhi. Natsuhi! Natsuhi flopped backwards. When the back of her head hit the floor, a red splash spread out beneath it, forming a single flower to adorn her dead face. Natsuhi. Why did you shoot her? Why, Eva? Eva! Oh boy. Kraus howled, raised his gun, and ran at Eva. At the same time, Hideyoshi leapt between them. A scuffle broke out between the two men. How could you, Natsuhi? Kraus, you've got it wrong. You've got it all wrong. It was just an accident. Eva, how could you? I'll kill you. I'll kill you! I didn't shoot. I didn't. Even though I told her to stop, she just jumped at me. Kraus, who had just seen his wife killed before his eyes, had lost all traces of rationality in his expression. He was so furious that, if he had knocked Hideyoshi aside and jumped at Eva, he might have torn her throat out. So I see why this is such a, proclaimed tea party. It's literally just another game, except this time they solve the epitaph and they all accidentally kill each other, I'd assume. Or maybe someone takes advantage of it. It doesn't show that... It's not red there, so great. Why did you kill her? Why? Eva! It was an accident. An accident. Calm down, Kraus. Ow! Oh, great. Another explosion rang out. Hideyoshi's face was covered with blood. The two of them had been fighting over the gun Kraus held, trying to push it away from themselves. When the barrel had turned to point at Kraus's chin, the sneering, formless Reaper, master of the Room of the Gold, had swung its scythe once more. A line of blood trickled from Kraus's mouth. Oh, Kraus just died. I thought Hideyoshi did. Damn. Also Motorcycle Gunman. The two fell down, with Kraus's body on top of Hideyoshi. Letting out a cowardly cry, Hideyoshi backed away before Kraus's body could cover him. Dear! I didn't do anything. Kraus's finger just got caught on the trigger. It's an accident. An accident, I tell you. That's right. An accident. This was all an accident. As the pair of them broke down sobbing and repeatedly claiming that it was all an accident, Rose and the others were unable to say a thing. And Kyrie looks calm as usual. The witch also watched this scene, but said nothing, and appeared to be completely disinterested. It wasn't our fault. It was just an accident. You saw, right? Right? You saw that, didn't you, Rosa? Kraus and Natsuhi both let their emotions get a hold of them and charged at us. Who knows? I couldn't say either way. Stupid Rosa! You saw, didn't you? You saw it from right there, so you must know. I'm sorry. I can't tell if it happened by accident, or if you killed them and tried to make it look like an accident. Rosa, you... Rudolph, you saw. You know what happened, right? Right! Sorry, but I agree with Rosa. We can't tell if it was an accident or intentional. Rosa's and Rudolph's gazes looked very cold and indifferent to Eva's and her husband's. What are we going to do? They were shot to death! Saying it was a simple accident won't convince anyone. The forest. We'll say they went to the forest and went missing. That'll buy us some time. Isn't that what they did about Kinzo? Calm down. That won't get us off the hook, right? The police will just search the whole forest. And anyway, why would those two go off into an uncultivated forest like that? It looks suspicious from the start. There's no way we'll get away with it. It'll be okay. If we hide the corpses here, no one will be able to find them. If we all play dumb, it'll work. It won't. There's no way you can fool the police. If the two of them disappear during a family conference where we were arguing over the inheritance problem, the police won't just put it down as a case of missing persons. I just had an idea. Oh boy. Though Eva had been scratching at her head, overcome with emotion, her arms suddenly felt as though their strings had been cut. What did you think of? An accident. We just need to make it look like an accident. Idiot! What kind of accident? There are clear gunshot wounds on both corpses, right? Even if we burn them to make it look like they were caught in a fire, it'll still be obvious that they were killed by guns. A fire? That's not good enough. We need more. A much more massive accident. Oh. A massive accident? Ugh. Eva slowly walked forward, tapped it, and spoke. An explosion accident. We just need the sort of accident that will leave no traces of their corpses. Oh, great, she's going psycho. As she played with the switch that would cause an automatic explosion at 2400, Eva spun around to look at them, a crazed expression on her face. It was truly a mad flash of inspiration. If they flipped the switch to the right and waited for 2400, the 900 tons of explosives would wipe out the mansion without a trace. There wouldn't be anything left of the corpses. There certainly wouldn't be any way to tell that they had died by gunshot wounds before the explosion. It's an unshakable fact that this island is still filled with explosives from the war. Then, by coincidence, tomorrow night, something will set off by chance and the whole thing will explode. It'll be an accident. An explosion accident. What do you say? There's no way the police will find out the truth. This way we can pull it off. We can hide the manner of their deaths. That's crazy. Shaking, Hideyoshi frantically searched for a counter-argument, hoping to shut down Eva's mad idea. But he couldn't find one. If they blew everything up, the facts would all be muddled. They could make it look as though Kraus and Nazi had died in an explosion accident. It's perfect. Just perfect! After all, it was an accident that they died anyway. We're just changing the type of accident. Isn't that right? We can think up any story we want. By chance, the rest of us will happen to be in the hidden mansion tomorrow night. Then, when the explosion accident occurs, we'll be lucky enough to survive. That story should work. Just what sort of story are you planning on? What sort of story could explain how the two of them alone remained here, while the rest of us conveniently went to the hidden mansion and managed to escape? That's what we've got to think up now, stupid Rosa. It doesn't matter what it is as long as we all agree to it. I'll think of something. I am thinking. You all think too. Someone think of something. Calm down, Eva. I'll think about it, and so will everyone else. We'll definitely think of something, and it'll all work out. We'll share the burden. You won't have to carry it all yourself. It'll all be okay. It will. I know we'll think of a good excuse. What kind of excuse? We took the kids and all the servants to go exploring an underground passageway, leaving just the two of them behind, and the rest of us all decided to spend the night in the hidden mansion. How could any excuse work? It's insane! And yes, I did just change Rosa's voice. Come at me. And thinking up that insane thing is our job. Why are you acting like this has nothing to do with you? You think of something too. Sister, let me ask you a question. If you blow up the island, what will happen to this gold? Well? We finally got our hands on 20... Well, this is actually probably Rosa. We finally gotten our hands on 20 billion yen of gold, and you want to blow it all away? We can just carry it away. Yeah, that's right. The explosion will happen tomorrow at midnight. We have a full day. If we all carry it together, we might. You realize there's 10 tons of it, right? Just how much do you think our small group can carry back and forth across this long, underground passage that goes all the way across the island? You're being absurd. Here, we have this card, right? The card worth 1 billion yen, the one that woman gave us. We'll just carry as much gold as we can. We have the card with 1 billion yen on top of that. If we split that 3 ways, we'll have more than 300 million yen each. That should be enough for all our purposes. I don't like it. You don't like what? We have a mountain worth 20 billion yen right here. Why should we be satisfied with just 300 million each? Rosa! Eva's face twisted in anguish, and was met by Rosa's look of cold unconcern. If we gave Kraus his share, we'd each have a share of 5 billion. Subtract the 300 million from the card, and the rest of my share is 4.7 billion. If you agree to pay that much to me, then you can do whatever you want with this mountain of gold. What do you think you're saying? So you don't intend to cooperate? Sister, please calm down and listen. This plan will let both of us leave with a maximum amount of money. What? I want you to go to the police and turn yourself in, admitting that you got into a scuffle and the gun went off. Are you crazy? I don't want to go to the police. Of course, we don't want to say that the crime happened here. The police would find the gold. Yes, how about the rose garden? It's pouring rain now, so the police probably won't find any contradictions at the crime scene. I'll let you think of an excuse for why you and Kraus started fighting while you were holding guns in the rainy rose garden. Please, don't try to get us and our shares involved just because you want to hide your own crime. Rosa! It's not so bad, right? After all, it's not like they'll keep you in jail for several decades. It was just an accident, right? You'll be able to get out after just a few years. When you've paid for your sins and come back, then you can do whatever you want with your 5 billion. No, I never do that! What would happen if we were arrested? What would happen to my husband's company? Who cares about the company? With 5 billion yen, working any longer would just be a waste of time, right? Rosa had never intended to go along with Eva's proposal. It was a question of maximizing each person's portion. No one had anything to gain from an explosion accident. An explosion would conceal Kraus and Natsuhi's deaths, and it would serve no further purpose. From Rosa's perspective, the ideal outcome would be for them to confess to their crimes, without any unnecessary tricks. All she wanted was to change the crime scene from here to a different place. However, Eva didn't want to be arrested. She didn't like having her share shrink from 5 billion to 300 million, but even that was more than enough to cover the amount she had been trying to wring out of Kraus in the first place. She wanted to hide what had happened here, even if it meant blowing away 4.7 billion yen. What would happen if they were arrested? The life, the company, and the trust that Eva had worked so hard to build were things that couldn't be brought back with money. So, she wanted to hide Krause and Natsuhi's deaths, even if it meant blowing up all 4.7 billion yen worth of her gold. But from Rosa's perspective, that was just irrational nonsense. Rosa! What do you think you're doing with that gun, sister? Are you going to have me die in the explosion too? That'll make finding an excuse even harder. In fact, it'll make it harder to explain away the other 2 deaths as accidents too. 3 whole deaths mean it'll be quite a large-scale crime. It would probably get you the death penalty, or life in prison if you're lucky. Even in the best case, you'll probably be put away for more than a decade, right? Turn yourself in. If you do, this will be no more than a pair of unfortunate accidents. Of course, your jail term won't be too terrible either. Don't worry about George. We'll take good care of him. And we'll make sure that your entire share of 5 billion yen is waiting for you when you get back. Eva ground her teeth and glared. The Rosa she knew should have been shaking and obeying her commands. And yet, Rosa wasn't scared. Her blank expression, no, that faint smile, was one that Eva had never seen before. Put the gun down, Eva. Once you calm down, you'll see that my plan is the best one. Jail isn't so bad, right? Think of it as a financial strategy. Even if they put you in for 10 years, there will be 5 billion yen waiting for you when you get out. It's like working for a 500 million yen salary, right? If you think of it that way, won't you enjoy your job more? Liar! You just want to steal my share away while I'm in there. Like your man did to you. He has nothing to do with this, okay? I won't run away. I never run away with someone's money. Oh, I'll never do it! Rosa's once frigid face was filled with rage. This ain't good. The 2 howling people pointed their guns at each other, shouting insults. You could smell the gold room's reaper slinking closer. The smell of gunpowder, the explosive smell of death, filled the room. And Rudolph and Kyrie are just there. Alright, which one now? Drip. A bubble of blood dripped from Rosa's mouth. Great. Then she fell over lifelessly, like a mannequin that someone had pushed over. Eva? It wasn't me. I swear I didn't even pull the trigger. Really? I guess you two had... Well, Rudolph's still just there, just like, what the fuck? My wife is crazy. Huh. Well. Huh. Is this my fault? I think it's my fault. The round in the chamber of your gun was spent when you fired at Natsuhi, right? You never reloaded, so even if you pulled the trigger, that gun won't kill anyone. Have no fear. As Kyrie said this, she maneuvered the lever action with a practiced hand, and the smoke-smelling shell casing was ejected. It hit the floor with a small, metallic sound. That tiny sound had a disturbing ring to it. Rosa's analysis was a little naive. She has no idea how difficult it would be to exchange this many unmarked gold ingots for money. Back in Dad's day, even just showing this gold to get funding was enough to create the massive rumor called the Ushiromiya Legend of the Gold. And I just realized, I'm in a room with 3 killers. Oh boy. Exchanging this for cash is impossible. A pile of gold you can't use is no better than a pile of crap. 10 tons of gold were exchanged for cash on the black market, and the successor and his wife died mysterious deaths. Expecting that to go unnoticed is what's really unbelievable. We don't want to get the police involved. We'll blow up this island and destroy all the evidence. If it's tough parting with the gold, feel free to grab as much as you can hold. The billion yen on the cash card is more than enough. In other words, Eva was right. I'm glad. Also, this song feels like fucking FNAF ambience. Or like some shit out of DDLC. It looks like we're on the same page. If the police get involved, who knows what might happen? It's the same with cashing in the gold. I'm sure that would have tripped us up somewhere, so we had no choice. The 1 billion that woman over there exchanged for cash is the only money we'll be able to get our hands on. And even splitting that billion, it'll be more than enough for what we need. On top of that, now that Rosa is dead, our shares have increased even more. We can leave this island with 500 million. Exactly.
As long as we don't let our greedy desire to cash in the gold control us, we can pretend that everything that occurred on this island never happened. We have a way to do that right here.
By this point, neither deaths from accidental discharges nor shooting murders meant anything on this island. Everything would be erased equally by the explosion accident. No matter what happened between now and midnight the next day, everything would be rewritten. And you told me to turn myself in? Stupid Rosa! You weren't satisfied with just 300 million? This is what you get for being too greedy. Well, I'd say you're the greed one, but that's Kraus. You brought this upon yourself. But Kyrie, there was no need to shoot her, right? Even Rosa would have figured it out if you just told her.
I did need to shoot her. After all, Rosa's the only one who didn't fire her gun.
What does that matter?
The guns lying at your feet are Kraus's and Eva's. Both of those have been fired. However, Rosa's gun can shoot if you just pull the trigger. It's hard to reload one of these if you aren't used to a lever action. An amateur would have some trouble pulling it off.
Kyrie, what are you talking about? You. Oh. They finally realized what Kyrie meant. Rosa had the only gun that could still fire, so I shot her first. Really? Kyrie, what you doing? So Kyrie's taking advantage of this. And I guess Rudolph too. Oh, how foolish we were. Why didn't we realize sooner? Even though we knew there's a mechanism for erasing everything that happens on this island. Eva and Hideyoshi hurried to pick up the guns that lay at their feet. At the same time, fire spat from Kyrie's gun once more. Hideyoshi let out a short scream, clutched at his chest, and fell over face down. Okay, I shouldn't laugh at that, but like, a short scream, clutched at his chest, and fell over face down. Like, just imagine that happening super fast, like, ah! Dear? Dear! Why is this? Eva fiddled with the lever action, trying to imitate something she vaguely remembered from a Western movie. But something seemed to be caught, and the still open lever didn't budge.
See? It's pretty hard.
You... Kyrie finished reloading with a fluid emotion. The way she held it was as innocent and sure as a kid playing with a squirt gun. The fuck are Rudolph and Kyrie doing? Well, obviously they just want the money. With another heartless cry of gunfire, the puppet called Eva slumped down to the floor as though its strings had been cut.
Rudolph, the billion-yen card.
Sure. The cash card with 1 billion yen, which Eva had just grabbed from the witch. That alone was worth more than enough. The 20 billion yen pile of gold had skewed everyone's sense of value. Just a few million yen is enough for people to kill over. And this was 1 billion yen.
Rosa, those were some famous last words there. Just 300 million. You were too greedy.
Heh. No kidding. Ah, lucky me. I don't have to fist through her corpse. As Rudolph walked up to Eva's body, he found the card lying beside it and picked it up. So, this flimsy little card is worth 1 billion yen. Sticking with the company would be a waste of time. So, do we close up shop and spend the rest of our lives in some southern country?
I'm sure you'd get bored right away. Besides, I like seeing you get all worried about some problem, and leap around like a little kid when you finally overcome it.
Sure you do.
Thank you, Miss Golden Witch. Rudolph and I will make good use of this billion. Kraus promised to treat you in a gentlemanly fashion, but I haven't made any such promise.
And that's the first Twilight. She pulled the trigger without a trace of mercy. When the ringing of the gunfire died down, blood trickled from the witch's mouth, and she fell over onto the bed. Once again, Kyrie ejected the used shell casing. The 4 metal sounds of used shells hitting the floor seemed to symbolize the fact that Rudolph and his wife now possessed all shares of the gold. Does that make Rudolph the head?
All of them were really slow-witted. From the moment they heard about the bomb, They should have known that they wouldn't be leaving this island as a big happy family.
Sorry about this, bro, sis, Rosa. Well, that's life for you. Give me a break, okay? Bro and sis get into a fight, Rosa gets dragged in, and I'm the one who picks up the pieces. Just like it's always been, right? It wasn't as though Rudolph and Kyrie had planned to kill everyone and take everything for themselves from the start. Kyrie had quickly realized, by the length of the barrel of the gun in her hands, that it would probably hold 5 rounds at a time. Yes, Kyrie and Rudolph were both very familiar with this gun. Rudolph, whose interest in guns from old westerns came from his father, owned a shotgun of the same model. Even Kyrie had earned the qualifications to use that gun, becoming familiar enough with it that they could go shooting together for fun. Including the witch, there had been 8 people there. 6 people besides the 2 of them. Each gun held 5 rounds. That was 1 short. They didn't have enough to kill everyone. To be honest, it really surprised me when they got into a fight and one of the guns went off. That coincidental accident had provided the missing bullet. It wasn't the second shot. The very first shot, which had accidentally killed Natsuhi, had guaranteed that this massacre would happen. In this smoke and corpse-filled room of gold, the 2 of them wore easygoing smiles, hardly any different from those they usually wore. What? Why does this feel like a reaction image? Do we do now? Rudolph picked up Rosa's gun. Then, he fired a test shot at the wall and ejected the old shell with a smooth motion like Kyrie's. Kyrie went to the box of bullets on the table, casually picked up a few, and loaded them one after another into her gun.
Set the bomb switch to on. Then, we just need to wait 24 hours. Everyone's gonna run wild when morning comes and they can't find us.
Wait, that was Rudolph.
Then we just need to make sure they don't.
Guess so. What about Battler?
He's your son, not mine.
He is your son. Don't say that. Look how attached he is to you. He really respects you.
Then think of a clever way to trick him. I'll worry about Angie. You worry about Battler. Fair enough?
Sure.
I'm kind to my own children, but it's a real pain to be nice to Asumu's kid. You understand, I hope.
Kyrie's voice had grown cold. She had acted warmly towards Battler because that had been the adult thing to do. He was Rudolph's son, so she tried to avoid being hostile, nothing more. But underneath, he was the son of Asumu, a woman Kyrie still hated even though she was dead. Now that she had given birth to Angie and finally built up a new family, was Battler's return really such a happy thing for her?
Get yourself ready. Now that we've come this far, we can only go for the billion yen or die trying. If you can't convince Battler, I'm sorry, but I won't be taking any chances.
No need to threaten me. I'll take care of it. I'll find a good story to tell him.
Make sure you do. I know Angie will be very sad if she's forced to hear about Battler dying in an accident.
Sure. How do we start?
We have nothing to gain by waiting for morning. Now is the best time.
Oh, wonderful. Not even time for a break. Look at this fucking power couple. Jesus, I see why people like this tea party. That's a twist. I mean, I still think Kyrie killed Hideyoshi in the 3rd game. I don't think Evil would have killed Hideyoshi, but still. That was a bit crazy. And of course it's still going. Jeez. I mean, I guess it's going to be one of those fast games. They're just going to go through the island and kill everybody. Are they going to survive, though? That's the thing. And what's the importance of this? Just to torture Angie and Leon? Whatever. Either way, that's going to be it for this episode, guys. If you liked it, be sure to press the like button. And if you didn't like it, then fuck you too. Remember to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all my videos and stuff. And as always, my name is Godzi, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye!